Chapter 4 covers many of the commands you will use on the midterm. Project 1 covers the make directory command. You may want to take a snapshot of your virtual machine before the project so you can practice it several times, maybe in several different ways. I will show you one variation of the make directory command and some extra tools for verifying the directory is created correctly. On the midterm and in projects, please verify your location before creating directories. PWD shows me I am in the root home folder. The project states that I need to be logged into root and view the contents of the home folder. If I was in another directory, I would need to issue cd /root to get into the correct folder. I will now view the files with the ls command. I see I only have files and no directories. I'll issue the mkdir my samples. I will create the subdirectories slightly differently. I'll use my up arrow key. I'll put a / for a directory separator and type under my samples. I'll hit the up arrow key again and replace with to delete. To verify the directories were created, I'll use ls. I can see my samples is created. I can change into my samples, type ls, and verify the two subdirectories were created under my samples. At this point, you may want to revert snapshot and practice the lab and the way I have done it in the video, and any other combination that you can think of for creating the My Samples folder and the two subfolders underneath. Now I am on step 7. I will type cd /..., and I'll use the ls-r to view the directories recursively. I'm going to clear my screen and talk about another command called tree. By default, it is not installed in CentOS. I will install it using the following command: yum install tree. I will hit enter. After a few moments, it will ask a yes or no question. I'll click yes to install the tree command. It will then ask to verify the signature. Again, I will type a Y and hit enter. Installing programs is in a later chapter. However, I wanted you to see the usefulness of tree. I will type in clear. I will then type in tree my samples. Here, it verifies that I've created my samples and I have two subfolders, to delete and under my samples. Step 8 in Project 1 is taking us to the root folder. I'm going to type in cd // and enter. and type pwd to verify I am in the root folder. Notice this is different from the root home folder. I don't have the word root out beside it. It wants us to make a folder called for user 1 in the root folder. I'll use the ls command and verify for user 1 is created. Again, make sure this is in the root folder and not the root home folder. Your screenshot for Project 1 will show the following directories as shown on my screen. To start Project 2, we need to move to the root home folder. Typing and hitting enter and typing pwd to verify we are in the root home folder. We are now ready to look over the cp command, which is short for copy. Copy requires two parameters, the source file and the destination file. It will not work with only one parameter. The first copy example has us generate an error because we only put the source file. We do not put the destination. So the following command makes a copy of the sample file, the sample1a. Typing ls verifies that a file was created. Step 5 has us copy sample1 into the My Samples folder and renaming sample1 as sample1b. I will then change into My Samples and verify the file is copied with the correct name. My preferred method of copy is to go into the folder that I want the file to be. Use the cp command, the absolute path to the file I want to copy, put a space, and if you remember from the last chapter, a period stood for current directory. So this command, I'm going to copy the sample2 file located in the root directory to the period or current directory. When I'm using Unix, this is my preferred method for copying files. You should do the rest of the lab on your own. You should also make your own files, your own directories, and copy between them. You will need lots of practice with the copy command. Your screenshot should look like the following. We will now move on to Project 3. I will check my directory and verify I am in the root home folder. If not, type cd, hit enter, and re-verify. Project 3 covers the move command. It has two functions, moving a file from one folder to another, or renaming a current file or directory. It requires two options, just like the copy command: source and destination. I will skip step 3 and ignore that error. Step 4, I'm moving sample 1 to sample 4. This renames the sample 1 file to sample 4. As you notice, I no longer have sample 1. It has been changed to sample 4. Step 5 takes the sample 4 file and moves it out of the root home folder into My Samples. I am going to use my preferred method and go into My Samples, issue the move command, the absolute path to sample 4, and tell it to move it here. Sample 4 has now been moved. I can go back to the root folder and verify sample 4 is no longer in this directory. Step 7 wants us to move the sample 4 file back into the root folder. I'll use the mv command. The relative path to my samples, the sample 4 file, and I'll tell it to move it here back to the home folder. This is a variation of the lab. You should try it the way I do it in the video. You should revert to an earlier snapshot and try it as it is in the lab. You should do the rest of Project 3 on your own. I've skipped ahead and entered a few of the commands so you can see what it should look like similar to your screen. I'll now end this video, and you can pick up on the next video on Project 4.